Hi, my name's Kenny, and I'm the executive pastor at First Baptist Church in Clinton, Mississippi. And we use Ramp, and I give it a 5 out of 5 stars. Yeah, before looking into Ramp, we considered, or we're currently using a local bank card for our credit card system. And we decided that we didn't have the access that we needed to travel and make sure that we had the availability of credit while we were traveling, as well as the flexibility of changing spending and documentation of spending. So we started looking around and really was recommended to Ramp by someone that I knew, and so that's the primary one that I started exploring, and it has proven to be very effective for us. When we looked into Ramp, the things that really stood out to me was the ability to control the spending and the issuing of cards from my standpoint. A side note to that was the ability to issue virtual cards very quickly and simply, and to be able to restrict the spending on those virtual cards or real cards to specific areas. An example would be for travel. And so we would issue a virtual card to maybe a pastor that was coming in or a missionary that was coming to visit us that could only be spent on travel expenses. So an airline ticket, Uber rides, and things like that. And you have the control through Ramp to do that. But once we got into it and researched a little bit more, the things that we love most about it also are the ability to submit all documentation that is required through the Ramp app. And our people have loved that, but our finance office has also loved that because we have set up controls in our case where within 2 weeks of making a spend, you have to submit that documentation. If you don't, it actually locks up your card, but it notifies you all along the way. And so no one is surprised by that, but it has caused in our environment for people to be more responsive about submitting receipts and assigning to account numbers that spending, because if they don't do that in a timely way, it locks their card. But it's so simple that people actually prefer it over the paper method that we were doing before. So, all things considered, those are powerful tools that are in our hands, as well as being able to restrict the accounts that people have access to make assignments of their charge to specific accounts in our software, and so they only see what they need to see, and it's just proven to be a really simple way to make sure that we're tracking all of our expenses well in the credit card environment. Yeah, once we decided to pursue Ramp, I filled out their online applications and was immediately accepted into the process of getting started. And so we had to submit and link some bank accounts so they could verify what our spending limit would be. I was pleased to find out that Ramp gave us a higher spending limit per month than we were currently using with a local bank. So that was great for us. Even when we don't need that much, we have it available to us. And also, just the flexibility of shifting around what each card limits are was great. So was able to get all that set up. They kind of came alongside me to kind of get that initial setup done. It's all on the computer through forms, and it's pretty intuitive. The most difficult thing for me initially was uploading all of our account structure to Ramp, which there's a template CSV file that you just put your account framework into. And I was able to do that by exporting that account information from our finance software and making a few modifications, and then uploading that into Ramp, and then assigning each card what accounts it had access to and setting up each card. But I was pleased to find out that you can kind of have categories. So certain types of cards that you would issue would fall into a specific category, which made it a little bit more simple. And so all in all, a little bit of a startup learning curve on that. But once I got into it and had it set up correctly, it has been absolutely wonderful for us. And so I think it was very worth it, even though it's a little bit maybe non-intuitive to get everything set up just like you want it. Ramp was there along the way to help, and I got it set up pretty seamlessly with over a couple of days. And after the first month, everything was clicking really, really well. And so I've had no hesitations or frustrations since then. If you're considering using Ramp, I think it's worth a try because it's real simple. You can even get started in it and do some testing and trial on a small basis if you wanted to, just to kind of see if it really works for you. and there's really no downside to doing that. But for us specifically, what I would really encourage is this idea of being able to submit documentation in a very simple way. Example is if I make a charge at the Walmart, within seconds of making that charge, I get a text on my phone that says, "Hey, you need to submit documentation for that." And I can open up the Ramp app, take a picture of my receipt right then, assign it an account number in our system, and make a memo. We require a memo that says, "This is why I spent the money here." And then my documentation is completely done. And so it's super easy. And maybe that has been a frustration for you, as it was for us to get all that documentation in. We had people losing receipts before. We had people waiting until the last second when we were needing to pay our credit card bill to turn documentation in. This has fixed all of that for us and done it in a way that our users have been very pleased. We've only had one user that has been hesitant for it, and it happens to be a much older man who doesn't like using the computer or the iPhone. And that was even solved because we were able to set up a proxy user for him and his secretary that can submit all the documentation for him. And so it's turned out to be a very workable solution there as well. But for everybody else, it's been just super great. And so if you're needing a way to kind of make sure you're tracking things, getting those things submitted in a timely manner, setting up travel expenses. And one thing that I didn't even mention before, which has been good for us, is we do mileage reimbursement. And so Ramp has a tool on it where you can submit your mileage reimbursements right there, and it does all the calculations. And if you link your personal bank account to that, then Ramp actually electronically deposits those review after they've been reviewed, those mileage reimbursements as well as other expense reimbursements that you might have outside of the credit card arena. We have not really gotten into bill pay, which Ramp also uses, but I know there would be some that would be very interested in Ramp bill pay. Well, they will actually issue checks or electronically submit payments for you, and it's all tracked through that one system. So it's a central place that is not your accounting package, but it does a lot of accounting things for you. So highly recommend it. It has been a game changer for us, and in the church arena, which the arena that I'm in, I've already recommended it to several of my friends because it's been a game changer for us.